This is non-pre-recorded content here. LS, we have to use the LSXYZ, but you can imagine him about 100 floors above the ceiling. I mean, above the ground. Sorry.
99
just
floors
way in
above
the
the
air.
ceiling. Okay.
And thank you, Dom. Good math, Dom.
That's what I'm here for.
LS, where are you? Where are you right now?
I'm at Lotte Tower. Lotte World Tower, yeah.
Oh wow.
Pretty
Absolute
good.
lol. Got it right, like on the dot. Now we have to ask, because you yourself were the storm of Twitter, the eye of the storm of Twitter. You had a Sven bot lane, didn't you? How is that going?
I Sven bot lane, is that what you called it? A hot date?
Yeah.
It's still going. It's still going, dGon.
What type of dates do you go on, man? Like when I hear date, I think like, oh, like, you know, you're going out
2
for like
hours?
dinner and like, you know, a movie or something, and then you like going.
Yeah, we did all that.
Oh, you've been on the date for like 4 days now.
Three.
What type of date is this? This is an LCS level hot date.
When
Well, you
tweeted-
know, I'm scaling. Like.
Okay, all right. Jesus.
when you tweeted out like all this happy stuff, people were trying to rain on your parade and stuff. Where's my ooh retweet? That was literally like 4 or 5, I guess 3 or 4 days ago, and somehow you're still on it. How does that happen? What is dating LS like? Because I don't know many people that would have the stamina for 3 days.
3 days. So originally it was just gonna be 1, but then I thought, if I'm gonna come out, like, because I'm a couple hours away from my home right now, so it turned into, it's turned into 3. Might turn into 4. I don't know. We had I don't know. We had dinner at a nice restaurant, and then we went to a few places. We went to a few nice restaurants in Seoul, like some of the best, like different foods, you know, like Mexican and other stuff. We're gonna go somewhere tomorrow. And then I saw Suicide Squad, the new one. I never saw the first one, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
I imagine dating LS is like trying to schedule Facecheck for like 4 days straight. That's what it's
No,
like.
when it comes to I'm early, you know?
Also, yes, this is so good. Also, Dom coined this one today.
Yeah.
You know something's up. You know LS is in a mood if he's the one that starts the Discord call on time. Like I was actually the latest one today. I was getting
dude, I was literally scared. LS like called, and I just assumed that it was gonna be like, yeah, can't do the show today. Like there's some issues with like the internet here. Apparently, like 85 stories up is like where my cell phone reception drops off. So since I'm 100 stories up, I can't make it. I was actually scared. He started the Discord call. He's like, anyone ready for Facecheck? Let's do it, guys. I was like, okay, all right. Something has changed.
LS's life has changed for good. Thank you for again sharing that with us, brother. I guess all of us here are happy for you. Chat, I'm not sure if you can see chat. Chat is overflowing with based claps and you know, my streamer, all that good stuff. As you deserve. You deserve to be happy. All right, man. That was good.
You know, he watched Michaela with me. He likes Michaela.
Whoa.
Oh,
He's a big fan. Big fan. Michaela.
big Michaela fan.
Too good. Yeah.
You know, I'm so happy that Michaela's
Base.
on Cloud9, because like when I joined Cloud9, there was a bunch of like okay, like don't tweet certain things, like there's certain trigger words, like don't tweet the word bitch, don't tweet the word pussy, like they're like, we're not allowing like any. And then I just saw like Michaela just straight tweeting dicks, like just actual, just like unedited, just straight up dicks, like after she joined Cloud9. And I was like, all right, you know what? I got some leeway. I can drop like a little like F word here and there, like not the gay F slur, just the actual, like just say like fuck this, fuck that, like
There we go. All right.
like, call somebody a bitch, like, you know. I called Perks a pussy today on social media. I'm feeling loose. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, two of our favorite streamers making our lives a lot better. Thank you, Michaela, and thank you, LS. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, and you know visually where LS is for the show and his mindset for it, let's talk about something else that made a lot of people happy. And that a lot of people would be LCS teams, specifically LCS owners. The FTX, not FTX, TSM FTX, but FTX, the actual company that bought the naming rights to TSM, were denied being able to put their name on the jersey or the name into the team. We're like, hey, Riot, can we do that? They're like, no. And they're like, hey, Riot, can we buy you for a ton of money? More like millions, more like probably like hundreds of millions over 7 years.
Definitely.
And Riot was like, sure. And so with that, Riot announced their partnership with FTX, a 7-year naming rights to like the gold charts replays as the official cryptocurrency of the LCS. A big, what feels like an about face, or what feels like skirting around some of the rules, probably not. But, you know, after putting hard stances against cryptocurrency, the LCS specifically, it's not all of Riot, the LCS specifically caves in, accepts the money, and will be in partnership with FTX in the upcoming future. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this, Dom and LS, given the fact that the deal was announced just days, maybe like 2 days after the 1-year anniversary of the Neom partnership that the LEC inked on in. Remember, Neom was literally last year. Just it was at the end of July is when they broke off the Neom partnership. So another big injection of money from a place that, you know, cryptocurrency, it's not inherently bad, but it's a very young audience. What are your thoughts on this? We'll start with you, Dom.
Well, I don't know. It makes me really uncomfortable for some reason. I've always had this feeling around like crypto where it kind of just doesn't feel like stable. And it's like, you know, it's like kind of unregulated. It's like a decentralized currency and all that type of stuff. And I've been even approached by Cloud9, like, would you be comfortable promoting like a crypto site? Like not necessarily FTX, but would you be comfortable with a crypto sponsorship? And I've always declined crypto sponsorships because I've always felt like they were like in the same vein as like gambling in a way where it's just like it's the stuff that's unregulated. It's not like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel super safe, and I'm not comfortable with it. And it's something that, like, no matter how many times I go research cryptocurrency, it will never actually make sense to me as like a long-term solution to like you know, currency being centralized. So like, oh, what if the US dollar goes to shit? Well, decentralized currency would then be able to you know, like your money is like essentially safer in that way. It just feels like really sketchy, and I'm just not comfortable with it myself. So I'm surprised that they ended up going with it, especially after the TSM FTX thing. I think that Richard Lewis had the tweet. He said, rules for thee, but not for me. I think that sums it up perfectly.
That's a good tweet. That's a good quote. Yeah. Tweet. You like that?
Yeah, it's a little tweet right there. So actually, let's normalize that, calling quote tweets queets.
I'm down.
There you go. Actually, let's do that. I don't think that's bad. We're one letter away from a fucking. You know, like, it's fine, but
yeah, we're one letter away from it being a queen tweet. All right, yeah, it's a tweet.
There we go.
I don't know. What do you guys think about the cryptocurrency stuff? Because like, I personally wouldn't even take a crypto sponsor, so I'm surprised that they want to partner with something, especially with like a young audience like this.
Yeah, LS, what about you?
Well, so how young is Riot's audience now that we're in season 12, or we're going into it, right? I feel like that's one of the questions.
It's supposed to be 21 plus. Like the average is supposed to be 21 plus.
Right. So, I mean, that's probably something that they have in mind. Cryptos, for me, I don't think that they're I think they're akin to poker. I don't think they're akin to like slots or like those type of gambling machines. Yes. So anything poker related or like of the same tree or family as poker, I personally feel fine with. I obviously think it's more dangerous than like.
I was disallowed from having a poker sponsorship, by the way, by Riot themselves. Like I was
disallowed.
I was sponsored by PokerStars for like a couple months, and they literally like and that was like at the time when I wasn't like playing LCS, but I was technically listed as a sub, and they made me like remove myself from the sub slot for TL in order to even take that sponsorship.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't able to get certain sponsors in the past. I did have a crypto sponsor, but the agreement that I had with LCS was that I wouldn't show it during LCS and it wouldn't be in my title during LCS. That was in spring. But yeah, I don't know. It was one of those weird sponsors though, where all that they paid you to do is just have the logo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my only experience with crypto sponsorships or anything of that kind.
I mean, my main question is like, what are the real world uses for crypto right now? Because I tried to use crypto a while back, and it's very hard to actually use cryptocurrency. Like, you pretty much I just put money in cryptocurrency and then I just withdraw it and then use it like once it's withdrawn. But it's very hard to actually use crypto if you try.
It's really good for large transactions, right? Like that's one of the big benefits.
Yeah, large transactions, having your own crypto wallet, you know, it can be used for that. I have a buddy who's setting up a wants to be like for art, basically. Like he wants to have like a lot of digital art.
Yeah.
And so the way that those transactions would work would be through cryptocurrency, not through like regular currency. NFTs. Thank you, chat. Yeah, the
NFTs and stuff like that. I mean, so I don't know. I've like done a decent amount of research. I just feel, I don't know why it just always feels sketchy to me. It's just something that it just doesn't click for me. Like whenever I try to like really understand, and then there's like all this fear, right? Like, because I remember like early in the year, there was like this fear where people are like, a lot of the people that I mean, maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but there are people that use cryptocurrency and then they don't pay taxes on their like earnings from cryptocurrency.
You don't pay until you withdraw.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
The way that it works.
So there was people that were withdrawing without paying taxes. Apparently, there's a lot of people that withdraw without paying taxes, and then there was like this whole scare of like the government getting involved because now people are using it to like evade taxes in a way. So I don't know. It just like the whole thing just makes me uncomfortable.
My only one potential big encounter with crypto is I talked about this on stream. I was offered 10 Bitcoin towards like my Black Lotus, and that was what made me really research like how it works with taxes and the government. And I had multiple conversations with my tax agent about it because it was an offer I was seriously considering. But also it just makes everything easier when you receive it in crypto rather than like you get a bank transfer for, you know, $500,000 or something. Like that's one of the benefits of crypto.
Oh yeah, for sure. I hate it when I have to take my $500,000 transfers in cash and not in crypto.
Yeah. I had to do that recently. It was actually like hell though doing that. I mean, that is fair. It's probably easier to do in crypto because I had to do it from my my Vanguard account to like put a down payment on this house, and it was like I had to take it out like 100,000 at a time, and then like every single time that I did it, I had to like sign off on some like fucking paper that like to authorize it. It was a whole fucking thing.
It's like trying to move stuff out of PayPal. If you don't, dude, PayPal is, oh my god, PayPal is a headache as well.
With that said, the partnership is interesting because there was actually a tweet chain with Fruskirin and I'm not sure what Sherman's official title is. Let me look what Sherman's official title. Manager and publishing of the LCS. So basically, it was a little bit of a tweet chain going back and forth saying like, hey, how is this allowed? What about the naming rights? All that stuff. And so there's laws against crypto in different countries, which is why it cannot be in the name of a team or in on the jersey. It can't be either one of those two because then it would kind of affect, if a team plays internationally or if the stream goes out internationally. And there's actually a secondary feed, an international feed that does not have the sponsorships or activations that aren't allowed in other countries. So therefore, like, I don't know if alcohol sponsorships were deemed illegal because there are too many young people that play League of Legends in, I don't know, the Netherlands. That was a terrible example because they drink a lot, but whatever. There's a clean feed for that. So there is no sponsorship from it. So that's kind of like some of the naming rights and stuff. So yeah, so we'll see what Riot does with this and how this injection of money will help the LCS, help the teams, help the owners.
Well, I feel like the number one thing they need to do is try to like educate the community on what, because like I don't think most people like, it's actually pretty hard to like try to fully understand crypto. Like it's not something where you just go to a Wikipedia page and you look at it for 1 minute and you completely understand all the uses of crypto, how it works and everything, right? So I feel like the number one thing they need to do if they're going to make the sponsorship work is like explain crypto to people.
Yeah. Like I feel
I don't
like
think the average person knows. Like, I mean, still, like I've spent time, and it's actually pretty hard to fully understand it. Like when you start getting into like, okay, so like it's like the computers are like mining it, and then like they're doing the work, and then it's like how you would get paid for work. Computers are getting paid. Like once you start getting into it, it's actually like it's not the most simple concept to understand.
Yeah. Plus the environmental effects of just constantly having PCs mining all day, like what it does to electricity, what it does to, all that stuff is very, there's an in-depth stuff.
There was a good tweet that I saw that was like, for every tree that FlyQuest saves, two are like burned down or two are like destroyed for the crypto use of FTX. It's actually too insane.
That sounds right to me. Poor FlyQuest. But hey, they're getting paid now too because and to be fair, I guess props goes to Reggie on this, because if Reggie can convince FTX to pay for TSM and then buy the whole damn league, because he's able to convince the owners of FTX, like, hey, this is your audience, they're interested in it, spend a lot of money to be the official one, because there's going to be a lot of money from this audience. That's good on Reggie to be able to do that and get that done. All right, so no more crypto. You can look it up on your own. Please be safe. We don't endorse that here officially yet. Okay, let's turn our focus to the final week and basically turn our focus to one specific team that was not mining anything. They were trying to put the trees back in the ground. It's FlyQuest. FlyQuest had the opportunity. They had their fate in their hands. And in a truly counter logic moment, they lose the final game. Like I said, it would be a banger of a match. They lose to Counter Logic Gaming and get knocked out, and Golden Guardians take that final spot there. FlyQuest went and swapped their roster at the beginning of the week, putting back in Palafox and Jose Deodo, and the bet did not pay off, and now their season is over. Dom, I kind of want to get your thoughts here on this squad as we, close the chapter on them in 2021.
FlyQuest, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a failed mission here. I think that next time they try to put a squad together, they actually have to go for more of a like detailed approach to which type of veterans they're getting. I think that they went with the old school approach of like, oh, we're getting like a veteran and some rookies, and then the veteran's going to be able to like lead them. But if you get a veteran that's not a leader, then it doesn't matter like who that is. You didn't get Aframu and then try to put like players around him that are going to be able to sync with him, kind of similar to how Dignitas did, which is why I think Dignitas experienced more success than FlyQuest. So I think that this is just like bad team building. It seems like everything was probably pretty rushed here at the end, and maybe they learned their lesson as to like how to construct a roster with rookies and veterans, and like how they're going to be able to formulate that into a playoff team next year.
Yeah. Ellis?
I mean, I feel like for FlyQuest, right, you go from Worlds to what just happened now. I mean, I think it's obviously very apparent that they don't know what they're doing. The other thing for me is, and I know that in recent weeks it didn't end up existing, but like pro views, right? It was very apparent to me in some of the FlyQuest players' pro views, they're doing the same things week and week and week again, right? Even though the same mistakes are happening in laning phase and everything else, right? So it leads to me thinking either the players aren't talking with each other, or they're not actually focusing on what they probably should. And again, conjecture, right? But that's where the shitstorm really starts, when the players aren't good enough to help themselves, if they're not getting help, and you can monitor it inside of a Pro View, you can really tell what's going on, then yeah, the groundwork's already not there. So the problem is that for teams like FlyQuest, CLG, Immortals, Dignitas, etc., right, there's no appeal to want to go into them. So because there's no appeal to want to go into them the same way that there is maybe for Cloud9, 100 Thieves, TSM, Team Liquid, right? People want to probably just go into these teams. Because of that, it makes it even harder to build a roster. So next year, there's nothing to prevent FlyQuest from actually just being a new CLG. And I think that the CLG is probably going to be a more common occurrence. Like, I feel like Immortals, with their whole identity right now that they have going on for them, Dignitas, like, floating, they're on the edge of falling into just being like CLG. I think they're both pretty close. I think the LCS is probably in for a rude awakening in 2022.
Really? I wouldn't.
Yeah. Has this not been a rude enough awakening? Like, what the fuck? What's happening right now? If we're in for a rude awakening in 2022,
No, it's fine, Dom. It's fine.
how fucking rude do you want? Like, like you just get fucking slapped the second you wake up, like doused in fucking water, and then like, I don't know, like lit on fire or some shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, it can't get much worse than this.
Sounds like a Reddit thread full of kinks. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say that I think Immortals, I don't think is in that. I don't think Immortals and Dignitas are there. I would say that CLG is its own category of like despair. And FlyQuest is, I would say this year's FlyQuest makes last year's FlyQuest look like just a monumental achievement. Right, to make it that far, go 3-3, almost make it out of group. Like, I think that was huge for them. And
like, look at what they did with their team. Like, they pretty much sold off their entire team, and then they also like lost their coaching staff. So I feel like if you're going to like make one of these changes, at least keep some parts of it that you think were like successful. Like, they lost Curry. Yeah, they lost D-Lim at a point, and then they end up losing their entire roster. It's like, I don't feel like this is something where they're willing to like spend money and invest. And when you have these teams that are backed by like really big corporations, and then they're not investing into esports, it's really worrying. It's like the same thing with Golden Guardians, where like the part of the reason why I feel like people were so hyped to have these teams in the LCS is they saw like, oh, the Milwaukee Bucks are backing like FlyQuest. Oh, the Golden State Warriors are backing Golden Guardians. They're going to have money. They're going to have resources. They're going to be able to like put together really competitive teams using that. And then in reality, it's like none of that actually happened. It's like these teams are just, they bought the high profile ticket, and it feels like they didn't get the return they want, and now they're just existing.
So, good question from the chat here. The Wednesday Frog, did they have to sell their roster because of COVID? I'm assuming we're talking about the NBA teams. That was some of the front-facing language that was given. It was, hey, NBA teams had difficulty. They weren't able to sell ticket sales, even though primary funding for these teams come from their TV contracts, which they still had with TNT, with ESPN in North America. So their funding was fine, but I can imagine, hey, auxiliary things during COVID, like an esports team, you need to find ways to raise those funds without the ticket sales of home games, which then limits the jersey sales, all that good stuff. I can imagine that was a thing. But you know, the amounts of money that the teams make are a lot in the NBA, not in the LCS. LCS teams are still, other than maybe money. TSM, they're not profitable.
Money on LCS.
All right. Well, everyone's losing money in the LCS, but maybe since the Bucks, did win, they got those extra however many games in the playoffs. We'll see FlyQuest return. And I think the other thing with 2022 LS that you brought up, Worlds is in North America, so I can see these like, out of touch, rich, wealthy owners being like, yeah, let's get my team on in there. Like, let's make a Worlds run when we're hosting it at Madison Square Garden, when we're hosting it at not Oracle anymore, Chase Bank Arena, wherever Riot decides to put the Worlds matches in North America. I can see them doing that. So as much as it's like a rude awakening. I mean, this might have been the awakening so that teams open up the pocketbooks for next year. And a lot of these top teams that we see in the upper bracket with TSM and the 100 Thieves, all them, they have their players for 2 years. I believe most of them are under contract for 2 years. Maybe not Abadag. I'll look it up in the global contract database. But I think teams will wake up, especially the ones that we feel like are out of touch as owners, because it's in North America, because they want to show, you know, daddy, hey, look, I invested in this thing and now we made it to Worlds. Please love me. All right, cool.
Yep.
So that's FlyQuest. Let's, you know, dive into CLG real quick. With CLG, we saw a team that, again, at the final week had their opportunity and then just, in the most CLG fashion, were leading against Dignitas, had the opportunity to, you know, make some plays later on, and just one person gets caught out and another gets caught out, and all of a sudden they were losing. And then all of a sudden, the last like 5 to 10 minutes, Dignitas were in control of the game. You forgot that they were behind and they were on the back foot, and CLG were making the plays. And I think that just kind of summed up CLG's year in a nutshell. So the big question, Dom, who, if anyone, does CLG keep into next year? Under contract is Finn and Wild Turtle, I believe. I'm looking it up.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea who they end up keeping. I feel like the whole team is such a train wreck that, like, I mean, they did blow up the team and start over essentially, right? They kept Pobelter and Smoothie, but they replaced 3 players last year. I just have no faith in this organization because they have no idea what it means to like build a roster. This was like one of the most like doomed roster if you looked at it from the start, where you just looked at it and there was a hard cap. Like people could even see, you know, the young players of like IMT potentially like outperforming them. And it feels like CLG is just, they like triple lost this offseason if you think about it, right? They spent a lot of money to get the worst fucking results possible, and they weren't able to create any content around the players that they have, which are supposed to be big personalities. Like if you look at like their Twitter following that all these players have, they should be theoretically one of the more popular teams. Like they have established veterans that have fan bases, but no one gave a fuck about this team. They performed like shit and they cost a lot. So it's just like one of the biggest failures you could imagine in the LCS. And you know, I just hope that we get to see another bottom 2 split from CLG. So because I'm interested to see what Riot does, you know, because I think they need one more split out of the next 4. I think it's like 5 out of 8 splits, bottom 2 or something. I think that they've already like got 4 of them.
Riot's never gonna invoke that. I mean, look at. I mean, okay, like I'm not a fucking a doom and gloom viewership person, right? But like, I think there is some truth to, or not. I think they'll never invoke that. Do you think that they'd invoke it ever?
No, I don't. But I think that that's like the whole point. Is I want to see them in that situation, and I want to see them just rationalize keeping CLG with the LCS. What value are they providing? They're literally like making their players break down. Like you hear player accounts, like what is like that shit that Pobelter tweeted. He's like, man, this is the worst I've ever felt after 7 years. Like you see Broxa, one of the most positive guys that you've found like in the LCS. You see like his tweets. It's literally just the most like doomed Twitter account that we've seen in terms of like player account. And it's like, yeah, man, this is not the season that I was hoping for. Like we just need to work out. Like, and so it's like they're just a pure negative look for the LCS. I don't see what the value of keeping CLG is. They don't even have that many fans anymore. Like their Reddit is relatively dead. Their Twitter accounts are dead. No one cares about the org anymore. So they don't have like the historic like you know, team fans, and they don't have that like fan base that they used to have, which was the reason why you'd keep them along. They don't have the legacy fans. They don't have good players. They're reducing the value of their own players and like the brand of those players within the LCS. So like, what is the positive to keeping CLG around? I literally don't know.
Well, I guess the question is what's the alternative, right? That's always the scariest question. And that's pretty much it. Is what's the alternative?
Let's get FaZe in the LCS, baby. FaZe Clan. Yeah, FaZe Clan.
It works perfectly. Didn't they recently do some crypto scams themselves, some pump and dump? Didn't they have some little action going there?
Yeah, they did.
It's their time. They can come in right now. FaZe sponsored by Litcoin or whatever the next one's gonna be.
Yeah,
Like,
Litcoin.
Litcoin.
It's
It's
lit.
not Litecoin.
Ah.
It's Litcoin. And then they just come in. Everyone buy this coin. Second that you see it, dump it all. Like, all right, perfect. Let's go.
So in case you didn't know, that is what happened. They had their influencers kind of do this, hey, buy this coin. And as people were buying the coin, they sold the coin. And so the price like dropped and the influencer cashed out, which is illegal. They're not allowed to do that. They're not supposed to do that. All teams have their players. All the top teams. I was right. All the top teams have their players signed until 2022 for their Worlds run. The teams that don't are Counter Logic Gaming. Like I was right. It was Finn and Wild Turtle that are signed at least until next year. Dignitas has like a smattering of it. And MVP candidate for Evil Geniuses. This is the only one that does not have their deal signed to 2022. Jizuke. If he, Jizuke is now due for a huge payday next year because he has performed very, very well. MVP candidate here for the summer split, and is only, I guess, under contract for the rest of the year. Team Liquid have a decision on Santorin. That's really the only one. And then, everyone else is signed through the rest of 2022 or 2023.
I mean, the thing about EG is that they're in like a perfect spot because before they were pretty much like most people just had the mentality that EG was just waiting for JoJo to be old enough so that he could play in LCS, and then Jizuke was going to be dumped. But now Jizuke has high value, like based on how he does in playoffs. Like right now, it looks like he has pretty high value within the context of LCS. He's one of the best performing mid laners with like perks falling off and Jensen looking worse this split and all that. So they have huge value there, and they have like one of the most, or probably I would say the most hyped up and coming. Maybe you could argue Copy is also in that tier, but one of the most hyped up and coming academy mid laners like on their bench that could be worth a ton of money potentially. So I think that EG actually has kind of given the formula for like EG is literally what CLG should have been. Like that's what it is.
And is starting to become what Cloud9 used to be in terms of talent, kind of giving them the opportunity, and we'll see if they sell. But it feels like they've got the right track already in place, which is why I thought, and I still think, the Greg Kim hire for CLG is going to be very interesting. I don't think it's going to happen next year, unfortunately. For
you
them.
love this guy.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Evil Geniuses is doing from an infrastructure standpoint. They're giving kids. We have a thing called JoJo Pune waiting room. Is there such thing as? Let me scroll here. Yunbi waiting room. Is there such thing as Pretty waiting room? That's
wait,
my
who's
point.
The other one? Who did you say?
Pretty.
Oh, Pretty. Yeah, no, but I mean, Pretty's older, right? Isn't Pretty like Pretty? LOL. I thought this guy was older already.
Yeah.
He's 24. Yeah, I mean, he's 24 and he's been like relegated to regional league. I'm not relegated, but he's been in regional leagues for his entire career up until academy. So I don't think he has any hype.
Yeah, but I sword waiting room. I guess you don't really need anyone behind.
Dude, honestly,
TSM?
I've been watching TSM like academy a little bit, and I think Takeover is legitimately just better than Sword. I think Takeover is more hype than Sword.
Who's Takeover?
He's
other
from
mid.
Chile, from Chile, I believe.
Okay.
He's like a Korean player that I think has Chilean citizenship. Takeover.
Yeah, Hyunmin G Hyunmin. Did I say that right?
Okay. Yeah. Ji Hyunmin.
Ji Hyunmin is and he's on the active LCS roster. He's on the he's on the active LCS roster. No, he's on the academy roster.
Or
if you go below that, they have the amateur.
Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe he does have Korean citizenship, or I thought he was
Chilean.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe he played in the Chilean league. He
did
a lot
play.
of people have different.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Haven't done too much research into him. All I know is that when I watched him play, I thought he was solid.
There it is. Thank you, Joe. Look, production.
Residency. Oh, so he does have Latin American residency. Okay.
Yeah. Give a clap in the chat for Joe. Good job, Joe. You've been on point today. All right. So with that, the one thing I do think that CLG does add though, but I guess it doesn't matter if they do go last place next split, is Madison Square Garden. You have access to the Garden to host in New York City at one of the biggest venues. I mean, I've been to an esport event over at Barclays Center, which is in Brooklyn, not like Manhattan proper or whatever.
That's where
And that
the
was
6ix9ine shooting happened, apparently.
okay.
The shooting that was linked to 6ix9ine shooting 6ix9ine.
Come on. It was. I mean,
Barclays.
Brooklyn's a big city, but it was over at Barclays, and it was a great facility. But there's something about having Madison Square Garden as like, you know, the home. It is an iconic stadium in the global stage. So that is something that CLG brings. So all right.
Yeah, and then you have people giving accounts that like were coaches for CLG for like 3 years or whatever from Sojin. That's like, this is the biggest problem with CLG. It's what's killing the organization. It's like, yeah, that's great, great like advertising there for the organization. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't realize we had all these New York fans. Brooklyn's not a city, you got. Here, let me do my New York.
Hey, it's a
Brooklyn's
borough.
not
It's
a city, you dickhead. It's a fucking it's a burg. It's a fucking burg. It's its own
borough.
fucking thing. A borough.
Yeah,
Get
it's a
your
borough.
facts straight. Head ass. All right. Jeez, fucking New Yorkers. All right.
Hey,
Let's go
we got
into
one on
our
the podcast.
Really? You're from New
Yeah, I was
York?
born in New York.
Ah, do you
I lived in New York. I'm Queens, bro. Well, I actually, yeah, whatever. I lived in Manhattan for a bit, but I'm Queens.
All right. You rep what you want to rep. And if I get a borough wrong compared to a burg or a city, like just get out of my face.
I don't give a fuck.
Thank you.
I mean, look, look, if you're big enough to have your own NBA team, like you should be a city. Like you could be called
Yeah.
a city. Like
Yeah.
you got the Brooklyn Nets, bro. Like come on.
Yeah.
Way better than the Knicks too. That's
And the
for
New
damn
Jersey
sure.
Nets, even though we're going to the same stadium where the Nets used to play. All right. LCS Championship time. They changed the title of it. So TSM number 100 Thieves number 2. I don't remember the order of this. Is it Cloud9 3, EG Dig 4 5? Is that, or is it Dig? How did that work? Actually, I don't remember. Is it
So
Cloud9 is
EG's
4 5?
third. Yeah, EG's third,
Got it.
and then C9TL are 4 5.
All right, got it. And then Immortals 7, and then Golden Guardians 8. All right. When we go back to our predictions, I don't think Joe has this ready. When we go back to our predictions, your boy got most of them right, but actually all 3 of us weren't that great. Most of us got it wrong. Like I think Dom, you got Dignitas and Immortals correct. LS, you didn't get anything correct. And and then I got TSM 100 Thieves and one more correct. But yeah, it was
Perfect.
it was pretty funny. Golden Guardians. Yeah, that's right. I thought Golden Guardians would clutch it out over FlyQuest, which is such a heart-wrenching pick that I had to do at the time. But yep. So with that, those were our predictions. And I mean, basically the matches I think lined up where we mostly thought they were, but it did give us a Cloud9 Team Liquid first round matchup here with Cloud9 taking care of business during this regular season meeting. And Team Liquid, they slot back in Santorin. Santorin and Armeo have their positives. I think full power Santorin is better than Armeo and makes Team Liquid a better team, but we haven't seen the Santorin that had the impact in games like it did in FlyQuest for the past several years, almost all year on Team Liquid. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on the former team of yours, Dom, and just that matchup in general, former versus current.
I mean, I still think that C9 is like going to be good in playoffs. Wait, I hear myself through LS's mic randomly. Wait.
Oh, do you want me to mute? I can mute.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I think it was just for a second. But I think C9 is like the thing about C9 that gives you hope if you care about C9 is that the person that looks the worst is like Perks, right? Perks is the one that's running it down. And he's the one who you expect to always be good when it matters. Like we have not seen Perks play like a domestic playoffs where he's just been shit. Like he's never had a bad playoffs like in his entire career. So you're expecting him to at least not be the worst mid laner in playoffs. Like he'll probably ramp up and be decent. And TL looks like they have huge issues. So like I don't even know if TL can be considered better than C9 even when Perks is inting. So I feel like right now C9 should be a favorite. Not huge. I would say maybe it's like 55-45 or 60-40, something like that. But I do think C9 has the advantage.
LS, thoughts?
I mean, I think C9 are advantaged in best of fives in general, and I think, I mean, obviously, okay, so this is gonna be like some probably like inside, well, not insider stuff, but like Fudge is obviously one of the more articulate pro players that exists when it comes to like interviews and like giving deep thoughts, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I think in best of five settings, in between series, I think Cloud9 probably just has more level-headed people that are going to review like the games, but also I mean there's a limited amount of stuff that you can say, right? But you see some teams behind the scenes and you can just tell that the players fundamentally don't agree with each other, right? You get this through the sneak peeks like TSM Legends to an extent. You get it through like the Team Liquid show and whatnot. Even if Cloud9 doesn't totally agree, Fudge has already shown that he'll play whatever as long as it makes his teammates feel more comfortable, right? He'll lock Renekton or like Gnar, even though he'll flame the champions in the same vein on stream, right? But
Yeah.
like, I think having players like that on the team, having players that do feel like they have to win, not that like they want to win, but they have to, which I think most of them on Cloud9 actually do. I actually don't know if I could say the same for most players on other playoff teams. I don't know if they would actually feel like they need to rather than want to. And I think that there's a difference there that also affects like
100%.
backstage best of five settings, right? So yeah, I just think Cloud9 are massive favorites. And
I
then
think you can literally see this.
other teams. Huh?
Well, I was just going to tag on to your point. It looks like you can literally see this with the bracket. It's like the top teams are the teams that feel like they need to win, right? C9, TL, TSM. EG, Dig, 100 Thieves are like the ones that are like, hey, you know, like they're happy to be in that position. So it's like you've got actually like two stories here within the LCS bracket itself.
Right. Yep.
I would push back a little bit on like, well, no. I agree with the need to win compared to want to win. And I think the bracket kind of says it a little bit there, Dom. But like, I think Team Liquid is another team that understands need to win, right? With Alfari going to the edge to the point where it was like, hey, you got to pick me or Jat. You know, maybe he didn't do that, but you know, that was the situation that happened. You know, you've got Core JJ whose need to win was like, hey, I'll make this whole fucking region better and we'll do the off-season things and, you know, whatever. I think there's a need to win there.
Actually, I would like to say that Jat ended up resigning. Sorry, excuse me. He ended up resigning, so, you know, maybe they all got along perfectly and he just decided to resign in the middle of the split.
There you go. there you go. Solved.
Thank you for that, El Dominico. Yeah, you never mind. You know what? Dom just proved my whole point wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Team Liquid.
Now you have to admit you're wrong and publicly lash yourself on Twitter. Like, I better see a Twitter video of you lashing yourself because you're wrong.
How do you lash yourself?
You do it yourself.
Like this kind of action?
Yeah, you get a belt. Yeah, exactly. Like that. Perfect. Lash yourself.
Oh, Dom with the full screen. Joe with the full screen. Thanks, man. All right, so that's that top side of the bracket. Yeah, I think we're all agreed that Cloud9 has an advantage. I feel like it was more 60-40, Dom, than it is 45-55. I feel like when I was trying to talk myself into it, it feels a little bit more 45-55. But when I take a step away, you're right. Worst performing player is Perks. Perks known to, like, coaches hate this. The one thing coaches hate, you know, you flip the switch. They're like, sometimes the switch doesn't work and you're supposed to stay in form. Like, no. Yep. Like, Perks has proven it throughout his career.
The thing is, look, with Perks inting, they still should have beat TSM. Like, if it didn't come down to that double TP situation where they just ran it down under Nexus turrets, they literally, with Perks dying 3 times, it feels like everyone else is actually playing better than they were before. Blabber's not playing as, like, he's not playing at the insane level that we saw like for like moments in spring, but he's playing better than he was at the start of spring. And then you look at like bot lane, They look normal again. Fudge is playing well again. And like when you have the person that generally like has like the most confidence playing the worst, I just feel like Perks will match them at some point. Or even if he doesn't fully match them, he'll be good enough that he's not going to be solo losing them games. If he's getting ganked 3 times, eating 3 Leona ultis without flashing in the next series, like then it's just fucking doomed. Like, then I don't even know what to say anymore. I can't even defend Perks at that point. But yeah, like, I don't know. When you look at how the team's been playing recently, they do look like they're at least picking up steam.
Yeah. No, I agree. Perks is a player that has the TSM effect where it's like, I guess the TSM, TL, and Cloud9, like that whole top side of the bracket
TSM
where
effect.
they get the whole benefit of the doubt until it finally gets proven otherwise, right? Where it's like, hey,
I don't know.
every
I think
playoffs,
with
every
old TSM,
worlds.
like, yeah, but that's because of like the players that were on TSM before. That was because you had confidence in like Bjergsen. You're like, oh, Bjergsen, like you can always win if you got Bjergsen on your team in North America. That's how it felt. I feel like this team doesn't have the same like winning drive. Like when you look at TSM,
No, right.
they don't feel like they're gonna like win at all costs and win no matter what. That like you had that feeling when you watch Bjergsen within North America.
Also, I mean, from TSM Legends, I feel like there's probably more tension that goes on if they lose games.
Mm.
You know?
Well, and they don't play a way that's like super convincing. Like with TSM, like
Right.
even though TSM's first, it's not like they got first and they look like the best team by far. You know, like you could argue that EG is better than TSM easily this split. Like, and when you look at summer records, which is really what people are looking at, there's 3 teams that are tied with like the same record at the top of the standings. So
it's very sorry.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say it's very akin to watching Gen G in LCK, because Gen G, they'll not really do anything in games, right? But their opponents will end up losing. But it happens so often. I mean, Gen G are obviously like a massive team in LCK, right? But when you watch them, it doesn't feel like they're winning the games. It feels like they're just waiting for opponents to blunder, or opponents do, and then they win. TSM are like the team in NA that feels like they win their 1 games the most. If that makes sense? Like when Cloud9 wins a game, sometimes they just skull crush the opponents. They just fuck them up, right? When Team Liquid wins a game, sometimes it's like it's slow and steady, but eventually they just like they kill the enemy team. When TSM has too many wins, I think, compared to all the other top teams that are just total fucking shitfests, or like the opponent's blunder. And I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that they're still first, right? What does that say about the other teams that don't have as many wins as TSM? All I'm trying to say though is that TSM has the most clusterfucks, despite them being first.
Yeah. Funny enough, TSM has two teams that they have a 1-4 record against. All the other records they have.
One of them EG.
No, that would be 2 and 3. That would be 2 and 3. 2 teams that are 1-4. LS, give me one of the teams that TSM is 1-4 against.
1-4.
Wait, I thought of one. I thought of one. Is it Fly?
Wait,
one of them is
fucking...
FlyQuest. That's
okay.
correct.
Okay. I was gonna say FlyQuest. Fuck.
Okay.
Right. One other team.
No. Wait. Is it? Wait, is it fucking CLG? Is it really?
No. CLG doesn't even have 4 wins this entire season, I don't think.
I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on.
CLG has losing records against everybody except one team, which is why I thought they were going to make playoffs. It was their winning record was against Golden
impressive
Guardians.
in itself. That's actually impressive in itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Parth was crying on Twitter. He wasn't actually crying, but he was commenting on Twitter about how, you know, like he didn't get the perfect seed, but or like he didn't get the reseeding in the second round. But I mean, what happens if he had to play against Dig? Like, that's one of his team's kryptonites right there. So.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, let's pull up that tweet too, because that to me felt a little frustrating. Like, they got first seed, and then there was no dynamic seeding, and there was it just felt like kind of like a witch hunty type thing. Here, Joe, it's right here. So Parth states, today we locked in first place regular season for the first time in 4 years. It's more impressive since it's over 45 games over the year. I think that statement's true. Both those things are impressive. Great job, TSM. Our reward for it, since it's a locked bracket, no choice in semis opponent, and no dynamic reseeding. What this means is if Dig manages to upset the 3rd seed, 100 Thieves will get to play Dig for the world spot. That's an interesting take. Also very interesting, 100 Thieves who play to EG tomorrow has a lot of power over their opponent. who their opponent is in playoffs. As a GM, I wonder what I would do for my game tomorrow if my seed is locked and I think EG is a weaker team than Cloud9. You know what I do? I'd fucking throw the game and then take the weaker seed.
Yeah,
because you have 45 games to fucking prove it.
I just think it's funny, right? Because like when this benefited his team, you didn't see him talking about this. Like I remember in season 5, we were literally in the same exact situation, right? Like we placed first in regular season with TL, and we had a disadvantage by placing first because TSM placed 5th, and TSM was much weaker than TIP. But it's like we didn't see him coming out with this take back then. Like it just seems like one of these things where people only care when it's relevant to them, and they don't give a fuck if it's not relevant. Like they don't actually have a problem with the format. They only have a problem with the format if it's against what they do. Like I don't remember any tweets or anyone saying anything about, oh well, TL is first seed and TSM's 5th seed. Like isn't it unfair that they have to play TL or TSM and not TIP? No one said shit. So like I always take these things with a grain of salt because I mean, right. It's not like he said this at the beginning of the split or when the format was announced in spring. He only says it once first is locked, and based on the bracket, there's a chance that it doesn't benefit them.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I didn't like that take a lot. I am happy for TSM. They have put together a hell of a season, even with a lot of close, kind of goofy wins, as LS said. But also as LS said, it doesn't take away from the fact that they got first over one of the longest, most interesting formats that we've seen here in the LCS. So, and after Bjergsen has retired, like as a player specifically, he can't drag the team to victory. So we've seen an emergence of Spica step on up. We've seen Sword Art have some huge plays and be worth maybe like 2/3 of his $5 million. And Huni has had performance.
Damn, you think he's been playing like you think either Perks or Sword Art has been playing close to what their salary is? When you look at other players in the league, you look at like how like even like Jizuke has been playing, how Impact's been playing. Like these guys are not significant. They're not even better than those players.
I think the only player. Oh, sorry. Go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I was gonna say I think the only player on a high-end salary that I think is living up to their expectation is probably Alfari.
Yep,
it's Alfari. Yep.
Wait, isn't Fudge getting paid a ton? Fudge is living up to his salary.
Yeah, Fudge is exceeding his worth in his salary.
No one in Cloud9 gets paid except
Fudge
Perks.
Is actually
probably other people get paid.
It's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure Fudge is probably the most bang for your buck player in the entire league.
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
maybe any league.
Maybe Danny.
Danny is probably.
Yeah, I'm actually. I guess I don't know what Danny. Danny was a promotion, right? So
yeah, exactly. Pretty much
probably even less.
All these players are getting like close to the minimum. All these new rookie players that come in, you pretty much make like 100K in your first. Like you get pretty much paid league minimum.
Right.
When you enter, and then it's up to how long you sign for. I mean, this is like why when you're a rookie, you don't want to sign these like 3-4 year contracts because that's how you get fucked.
Right. It's a death sentence.
I'm trying to find the rule set. I know that in 2018, the minimum salary for LCS was below 100,000. And it shifted based off of what Chad is
giving me a brain aneurysm. Yes, it is only 100K when you compare it to $3 million a season that Sword Art's getting. When you're getting paid a 30th of somebody who you're performing better than, that's what makes it only 100K. Because you're only getting paid a 30th of what other players are playing to get worse results.
Right.
Jesus fucking Christ. How is it hard?
The one thing I do know exists. I know it exists within some teams' contracts though. And this makes like the 3-4 year contracts not as bad, but some teams do have an annual renegotiation on salary where if you can't agree, you simply become a streamer and you don't have to play.
In LCK?
You become a streamer at your pre-existing rate and you don't have to play. I know of at least 3 teams, or I know of at least 3 players that have had a contract like this in every different region. So I know that it exists.
That's interesting. I did not know that. I'm scrolling through right now to see like if there's minimum salary requirement. Okay, contract requirement. No, it doesn't say. All right. Well, whatever. I highly doubt anyone's minimum salary. My point that I was going to make is for players, for the 2/3 comment I said about perks and or for no, not 2/3 for perks, 2/3 for sword art, is that I think those big contracts are just end goal contracts. You make it to Worlds, it's worth it. Honestly, I think that's what it is. You make it to Worlds, it's worth it. I don't even think they need to get out of group stage. Like, if you make it to Worlds, that contract is worth it. If you don't, and it's those three, right? It's TSM, Cloud9, and Team Liquid that have those very inflated, or not inflated, but like home run salary buys. We don't know how much Abbedagge cost 100 Thieves, but it's not as much as perks, as Sword Art, as Alfari. Maybe that whole roster, because they lifted it from Golden Guardians and that whole thing. But I think when you look at those three players, those salaries become worth it if you make it to Worlds. Then you can at least.
I don't even think it's if you make it to Worlds. I think that the reason why these teams are paying this much is they think that adding a Sword Art or adding a Perks or adding these players that are Sword Art was extremely successful at Worlds last year. Perks has been successful at Worlds for years. So I think these teams go into it if we add one of these players, the goal is to actually do well at Worlds. We can get out of group stage. We can make it potentially to semifinals or something. They want to hit that peak, and it doesn't even look close to achievable with the salaries that we see.
Yeah.
One of the aspects that I don't think literally anyone considers, but I think it's a pretty big reality, is even if you pay a lot. So let's say that let's say Cloud9 gets perks, right? Or something like that. Or I mean, I can use T1 and Faker, right?
Sure.
You can bet your bottom dollar T1 gets sponsorship acquisitions that they would not be able to get without Faker. Because when part of their pitch is we have Faker, right? We have one of the biggest celebrities in South Korea, or even in gaming, right? A gaming god. So even though they pay Faker a lot, they make money back on Faker, right? That. I mean, this is just a thing. So Cloud9, they paid extra perks. What does having perks then allow them to get, right? And somewhere in between lies the truth. I think that there's probably scenarios where it doesn't matter that they paid perks a lot, or certain players around the world. It doesn't matter that they pay a lot. They'll make money back by having the player.
Yeah, exactly.
Reckless on G2. I would bet money G2 has made money on Reckless.
Ralph Lauren, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. They made money on Reckless. And I think so many fucking GMs and teams either don't understand this, or the public just doesn't get it either when they see these exorbitant salaries.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that the problem is, it's what are you getting out of your, so one of the players I think has a huge amount of brand value would be somebody like Jose Diodo, right? Somebody who has huge fan base, it gives you a link to a whole demographic that you wouldn't have had before, gets a lot of stream viewers, every time they put them in content, the content performs well. Those are the types of players that do that. But I feel and I feel Perks could be in that category too, because he does have one of the bigger brands in the West, some of the most Twitter followers that we see. His streams are popular, all that stuff. He has that value. I think Sword Art is essentially just there to win, though. When you look at Sword Art, he gets paid more than Perks, and where do we see this guy? I don't even know. Does this guy even tweet? Does he stream? It's literally just about his performance in game.
I saw one of his most recent interviews, right, where a lot of the TSM fans were really they were gobbling over it, where he talked about how a lot of the stuff that a support player does, you can't see it in the game, right? Looks for opportunities, times things, looks for objectives. And I thought his interview was really funny, because when I watched his pro view, it was lock screen. So I wasn't quite sure, most of the stuff that he claims he was looking at, so.
Well, I mean, I don't know about any of that, but I'm just questioning the value of yeah, I mean, you have a player like Sword Art. I don't know how popular Sword Art actually was within China. I don't know
if he have a big China fan base?
I actually have no idea. I mean, I know he's from Taiwan originally, but I mean, he played in LPL, so I don't know if he had a huge connection there, if he was really popular, or if he had a huge Weibo account or something. I'm not sure if he actually even had that much brand value. He's definitely not somebody who's doing B tier, where this guy is insanely popular within China and you can monetize that. But then the question is, if he did have that huge fan base, did TSM even use that at all? Is TSM building a connection with like his existing Chinese fan base and bring people to now like TSM and be invested in TSM.
Right, and that's what I
Right.
just looked up. I looked over at TSM's YouTube channel, and maybe they've used him not on YouTube, maybe they have used him on Weibo or something else. But there's nothing that is like, hey, like we're gonna do this in Mandarin or Cantonese. I'm sorry, I don't know which language that it would be in. It's yeah. We're gonna do this in Mandarin or something like that because we just saw FlyQuest do like a lot of stuff in Spanish. They had their Spanish stream. They've used Jose Dieto to tap into that market, as you said, Dom. But yeah, like we just haven't seen that from Sword Art. So it does feel like this is a, hey, get us to Worlds. Then when we're a Worlds team, we can work with those teams as the North American hub for, this is your North American team because we have a player that has represented at the highest stage, the LPL. So like, I think that might be the play there for Sword Art. But yeah, interesting to think about the value of the player based off of their contract and what the goal is and what the teams are able to get from the players. All right. It's always lighter these couple of weeks just because. Oh, did you have anything you want to finish?
No.
Okay. It's always lighter these couple of weeks once we turn into playoffs. The matches themselves will be much more highly scrutinized in terms of their play decisions, drafts, and whatnot. I know that we've kind of moved away from that a little bit here in the last couple of weeks. We'll focus in a lot more on that as this season was a grind for everyone, but again, specifically for these two guys, as they've watched matches across multiple different regions over and over again. They're going to continue to do that. Dom with the LPL, LS with the LCK, and obviously with the LEC. So with that though, prediction time. We're just going to do predictions one round at a time. So we're not going to predict our full teams, the full bracket yet. We'll do predictions one round at a time. And so that gives us our first two matches, Cloud9 and Team Liquid. Actually, let me look up the Leaguepedia real quick. Yeah, but Cloud9 and Team Liquid plus Evil Geniuses and Upset-Minded Dignitas. Is anyone feeling, excited enough to pull up the upset here? Okay. All right, let's go first. LS, you first. Let's fill out your bracket.
3-0.
3-0 Cloud9 over Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Whoa, the bold Cloud9 over Team Liquid 3-0. What you got? EG over Dignitars.
EG wins over Dig.
All right. EG wins.
I think EG over Dig. Look, I fucking hate 3-1s. I'll say 3-1.
You give the 3-0 to Cloud9 Team Liquid and a 3-1 to EG Dig. The fudge factor is too strong for the Alfari contract. I don't know. We'll if you can figure out a thing for Alfari, we can do that. The Alpha Alfari. There we go. If you could figure one out, that'd be better. But then that moves down to the bottom side of the bracket. That means you've got Immortals. Which one does Immortals play? Actually, I have no idea.
Well, yeah. I mean, why don't we just do the first week? Because we'll have a face check in between this and IMT and Golden Guardians matches. Like,
you're right. You're right. Yeah. By the way, the lower bracket playoffs are being played Thursday and Friday of next week. So yeah, okay, we'll do this first round bracket. Dom, you're up.
I'm going 3-1 C9 over TL and then 3-0 EG over Dig.
All right, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the inside information.
Sure.
Were you picking? Oh no, the team's different, so this doesn't work. I was gonna say, were there times when you're on TL where you're like, I don't think TL is gonna win this, but you picked TL because you're repping TL? I don't think you ever did that.
No.
Yeah. And plus, the team was different. There it is. Thanks, Michaela, for allowing him to say that.
That's right.
All right. Give me good. Like, could I see Team Liquid pull out the wild card and Bobby J and just throw off the fudge factor with his cannon? No.
Can't beat the fudge factor.
Give me that was it. Yeah, give me Cloud9. Give me Cloud9 3-2. I think that one's gonna be a lot closer. And give me EG 3-2. I think we're gonna have a long weekend, y'all. A long weekend.
Oh my god.
I just
dGon's
feel like
the fucking wholesome grandpa at like the family gatherings.
yeah, we're gonna have a long weekend. Here comes the nose, the nopers and tisks coming out here. Can't beat the fudge factor. What I would like to see though is Dignitas take our boy Soy Luigi out of the hyperbolic time chamber and just
Oh god.
put MVP candidate probably
That would
MVP
probably
winner.
be the most that would be the most interesting decision. Let's just say
Nice,
that.
thank you. Good, hey, good cat, reformed baby, reformed baby.
That would be the most interesting decision ever. Benching him the whole season, then playing him in playoffs after Yasui finally looks good or looks like better than he did.
Yeah. There's no way that happens though. But EG playing loose. They obviously their last game that they played was kind of all over the place, and maybe that means well for them going to playoffs. All right. The other thing that we needed to hit on, and I think we need to hit it now before playoff starts because I don't know when they announce it. All pro, and MVP. We can wait for MVP for next week, but let's do all pro. So top 5 players in each position. Let's go. Who did I go first with last time? I think LS. You went first.
Yeah,
So Dom.
Fudge.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead. Fudge number 1.
Yeah, Fudge.
Chat, type them out. Okay. Ooh, there's a tough one.
Okay, this is
Mid's
where
a little weird. I think if I were drafting the team, I would probably go for Abadage for mid. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
if it was an all-pro draft, I think I would go Abadage.
why is support
God,
here
80
before?
carry.
Why was support here before bot lane? What is this? What am I looking at?
It's a more important role right now in the meta. 80 carries.
Okay, Kobe.
For support, I would go Vulcan. 80 carries so hard. Oh my god.
I would put FBI. I would just...
Well, you know what? I mean, I've never had to consider Deathly, so I mean, that.
No!
That's never been an issue.
What are you doing?
You don't even have to consider him anymore. Yeah, I don't know, honestly. 80 carry, I really don't know for 80 carry. I mean, I guess the safe answer is just VENN, right? But then Danny, I think has made a pretty compelling argument, but only towards the last few weeks. So, yeah, I don't know. Hello?
You have to decide.
Oh fuck! I think it's still Sven. I think it's still Sven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dom, who you got?
Top lane, I'm gonna go Impact. Jungle, I'll go Spica. Mid lane, I'm gonna go Abadage. Support, support is tough. Man, support is so tough. Honestly, I think Ignar's had a quiet split, but I wouldn't put him there. I just think that he deserves honorable mention.
Like a third.
Yeah, he's like probably like a second or third consideration. I would say I'll probably just go Vulcan and then 80 carry. I'm going FBI.
Damn. Ours is very similar. Yeah, I would say Fudge, Spica, Abadage, FBI. And I'm actually caught between Huhi and Vulcan, but I think it's Vulcan, right? It's one without the other. It feels kind of weird, and Huhi as well has had a good split, good moments, but I think Vulcan is just he was what Fudge was at MSI. He's been consistent. He's carried the team, in multiple different games where it was very obvious. So yeah, I guess we just differ on Fudge over in the top lane. There you have it. Make sure to let us know what your all-pro voting is.
Dude, Impact deserves way more credit just in general. Like, this guy's been good for so long, and then I swear he's not even in the MVP.
He even went down in pay, right? To stay around.
He's someone who, like, he's so consistent on every team. Like, you know how hard it is to go to like multiple different teams and then consistently perform. Even when your team is shit, he's performing. And I think that I'm not gonna say that he's the best player in the league because that's not what MVP is to me. But I think he's so valuable on a team where we've seen Danny and Ignar randomly lose lane. We see Jizuke just do the Jizuke-ins, but Impact is so consistent, and I think that is so valuable to EG as a team. So.
Yep.
Chat and commenters watching
The
this
Impact
in
founder,
post.
the Impact factor sounds shit though. I like that.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Impact
Uh,
can't beat the hook
the
factor.
the Impact Initiative. There it is.
That's the Impact Initiative.
Yeah, that's right. He gives you the initiative to play through any lane and win games. All right, the high impact. That's pretty funny. Impact or fudge, chat and viewers later on. Let us know in the comments.
You already
on this
know.
one. I'm interested. Like I know you've got your fudge followers here, but Impact has put together a great split. I'm seeing some impacts in the sea of fudge.
Bro, he's somebody who I even mentioned for look, he's never been, I don't think, the best top laner in the world, but I think he's somebody that you could consider one of the best top laners of all time when you consider longevity, accomplishments. Like he's such a great player, man. He's
Right.
I respect this guy so much, man.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and he can take that lesser pay because he has Impact Tower over in Korea. Have you been to Impact Tower, LS?
No, so in between moving, I asked him if there was anyone staying there, because I was gonna ask if I could rent out units, but no, I haven't been there.
Well,
Yep.
all right. In the future.
I don't even know where it's located. Yeah.
It's in Korea.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Let me. You know what? Maybe I can actually probably see it from my window if I just
jeez.
fucking use the Zoom.
Dom with the bangers today. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Joe. We got the Google. Why?
Oh, I think that's where when you know what, I was gonna make the T1 truck that had the banner on it. I was gonna make that reference, but
okay.
you know what? I'll hold back. I didn't say anything. We just pretend this never happened.
Why is this Google picture of Impact Tower taken it's a streetwear photo with the diagonal joint looking up? Anyway, all right, y'all. That is it that we had for this week's show. I don't think we missed anything. I know a lot of you are saying, "Hey, which one of the top teams isn't going to make it to Worlds? Can you tell us?" We're gonna make you wait for next week. So
That's my favorite when you're in week 2 of LCS or you're in spring split and they're like, "So which team is gonna win Worlds?" By the way, it's I don't know, man.
I think NA is going to do really good here at Worlds this year. I think for sure.
Wait, so
Real voice Pog.
Someone reputable did tell me "Hey, I think we've got a quarterfinals team in the LCS," and I was like, "What?"
What LCS do you watch? Do you watch the same thing I watch?
Are we talking baseball, the League Championship Series of baseball, the NLCS or the ALCS? Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll make our Worlds predictions next week. Again, you can catch LS and Dom with all the live streaming coverage. I will be doing interviews this week with the players. Let's see. What else do you have, LS?
I don't. I actually don't know. I think I just have LCK co-streams and then coaching special. The StarCraft pro that's been playing a week is already better than pretty high percent of chat.
Oh, never mind.
What?
Wait, never mind. I didn't know where you were going with that.
All right. Yeah. Nice.
Actually, yeah. Go back to that one, Dom. What do you have this week?
I'm actually not doing that much because LPL playoffs is pretty much already decided. I mean, it's just people are playing for seeding. So yeah, I'm just gonna be doing LCS co-streams, and then we're gonna be hitting all the playoffs outside of LCK.
All right. Cool. Well, everyone, thank you very much for watching.
I have
in
Crackdown
chat
after this in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
go watch Dom on Crackdown. All in chat. Let's give one big happy good luck, best of luck on the hot date for the rest of the hot date with
I'll probably still be on the
LS.
date next time we do face check.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
It's
doing a
actually
bath bomb for the first time, dGon. Okay.
A bath bomb. Hey, that's
There you
a
go.
big step. That's a big step. That is
Is that big?
actually, I heard, the halfway point of your date. Now that you're at the bath bomb.
Nice.
All right,
Wonderful,
y'all.
wonderful.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. We'll catch you during the matches and then next week for Face Check. See you, everybody.
Well, that's the end of that video. You want more though, right? Thought so. Good thing YouTube makes it so easy to watch more VENN Esports simply by clicking the subscribe button, dinging the bell, and exploring all the other good stuff we have to offer. Got some good things. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah, this was the one that we did that one time, and it was like so great. It was so good. I learned a lot. You should click on it. It's this one.